Good morning. Welcome. It's Tuesday, 9th of March. March already. We're running through this month. Hopefully there'll be some people joining us this morning. Just check that I'm in the right place. I've been playing with my setup as well, so I'm going to be having a different view. Come on, refresh Facebook. I need to know I'm in the right place. Okay, I'm live. Right, let me just share this over to my group. And then I can move this out of the way. How are we all? How are we doing? Well, I will say it's a beautiful morning out there today. Sun is shining, it's quite fresh. I need to enlarge this. Sun is shining, I'm trying to do two things at once, which I'm not very good at. Somebody's there. If you're here, do say hello. There we go. I just need to see large screen and then I can see comments. Say hello if you're stopping by this morning. It's lovely to know who's about. So as I said, I've been playing around with settings after last week's live, trying to cover over my camera with the post-it note. It's just not happening. So I'm trying a different method today. So hopefully it will be a bit smoother and a bit less noisy. So morning, Ruth. How are you doing? Good, I hope. It's beautiful out there today, isn't it? Blue sky. My windows are still a bit misted up over here. But yeah, I mean, first thing when I went out before 7, it was super frosty, really frosty. So, but it's lovely out there now. Bit damp, bit dewy now. How are you doing, Ruth? A couple of you on here. Say hello if you're joining. It's always nice to know who is here. So today I am going to be talking about the butterfly bouquet that has gone live. It went live to you guys on the 2nd of March. I keep looking down. I know it's really distracting. I've got to stop looking at my Mac, but I'm reading comments down there as well. So I'm thinking of maybe getting myself an iPad so that I've got something a bit closer to hand, or I could have it in front of me. And also, because my phone is a different way round to last time, I need to think about where the camera actually is and be looking into the camera, which is really tricky to do. Hello, Ashley, how are you? How are you doing? Hope it's nice and bright and sunny and cheerful where you are. So, okay, let's, I think, turn you down and talk about what we're going to be doing today, because next week, my regular Tuesday live will be going back to Stampin' Chat. So we're going to be working with the sweet strawberries, and I'm really excited with that because I do love that set. I am going to be using it today just for the greetings that are in there. But yeah, I'm excited to start that next week. So I've got some parcels going out today. Products are arriving. Some products have actually gone onto back order, but hopefully we can work around that. So let's flip you down. Hopefully I don't press the... Oh, just making sure it's nice and tight. Move everything out of the way. Pull you into shots, because I take you back as far as I can. And I may have to do a bit of zooming. Let's have a bit of light on the subject. Light is always good. So you're a bit higher than you would normally be, and I can't get you any lower. Let's just see whether we can zoom in. We can go in a little bit. Okay, how is light? You've got a lovely sunny day there. I know, aren't we lucky? Let's just pull that out and pop this in. So lucky. I just want to let my MacBook catch up, get my grid paper in the right place, and then I can tape it down. Oh. Morning, Belle, how are you? I haven't fully caught up with the whole of you yet, but I will be doing that as soon as I've finished here. Okay, I think we're straight. I think we're good to go. Let's tape it down because it moves around a bit. I've actually left Alfie over in the house today. I felt a bit bad doing that, but I think because I was sitting and talking last week, he just got really excited. So like, oh, you must be talking to me because there's nobody else in here. So I've left him over in the house. Right, let's just move my Mac so I can get a good view. And then I think I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, so I've been chatting about this for a couple of weeks now, the butterfly bouquet. It's now live, so as a customer you can purchase this, but remember it's not in the catalogue, so it's an out of catalogue kind of promotion. It's an early release, and I'm going to be using, I don't have all of the products, I'm waiting on the speciality DSP to arrive, but I'm going to be using the stamps and the dies. My first card is going to be very simple this morning. A little bit of simple die cutting, very little stamping. And then for my second card, I've got a bit of a layered card. It wouldn't be me without having lots of layers, would it? But a layered card that I'm going to be actually inking up the butterfly Brilliance stamp set, and I'm going to be using my Stamparatus for that as well. So let's bring in what we are doing. So this is my card. So quite simple. Your stamp came today, Ashi. That's great. My deliveries don't normally come until in the afternoon, so I kind of have to hang about for them. But yeah, my stamps only arrived, I think it was Friday. I think it might have been Friday. So, and I've had very little time to actually play and experiment, which is why my projects this morning are quite straightforward. So I'm going to be using the dies on here just to show you the dies. I've got some of the DSP I can share with you. So these are the stamps. So they're available on their own, or you can purchase them as a bundle with the die set, or you can get the whole collection, which is here, where you have all of these products. So you've got the stamps, the dies, the gorgeous DSP, the speciality paper, which obviously I've not seen it yet, but I've seen people do videos with it and it looks lovely. You can get that all under one code and have that all arrive together. So it is a really fab set. Like I said, I've not really had much of an opportunity to play with it. Let's show you some of the papers. So the stamp set itself, they're not what I call clean, crisp images. So they're kind of lined, as you can see, but they're filled in already. But they're not, how can I describe it in my eyes? They're not crisp, lined stamps. They've almost got like a soft feel to them. So when you ink them up, they don't look like super crisp as what you think they would be. But they lend themselves to blending, to colouring, to heat embossing, so many different things. And I do actually have on my desk by the side of me out of shot, I've got my Versamark and my clear embossing powder because I do want to have a really good play with these later. So I don't have much of my paper left. I think this is my favourite side. So let's have a look what colours are actually in here. Bermuda Bay, Blushing Bride, Calypso Coral, Just Jade, Magenta Madness, Mango Melody, Mint Macaron, Misty Moonlight, Poppy Parade, So Saffron, it says Whisper White, and Basic Black. So a huge array of colours. So I think that's really good because it means if you've got, you know, limited colours of cardstocks and things, you're going to be able to find something that goes with it. So we've got this pretty one here. And I'm really gutted because I really love this sheet. But on the other side, I think it's the best sheet in the whole pack. I'm going to come back to that one in a moment. So gorgeous, gorgeous. I mean, look at that. You know that I'm going to be fussy cutting all of these butterflies out. I've actually not cut any of those out yet from my sheet. I've got like 1/8 of the pack that I've been cutting into. So you know, lovely ombre effects. So really beautiful, lots and lots of possibilities with this paper. Let's just bring back this sheet here. So the die set, let me grab that without rocking everything. Oops. Let's bring my basket. That would be the easiest thing so that I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm using 2 die sets today, but I particularly just want to show you a couple of things on the Brilliant Wings. It's a huge set. I'm also using the pierced blooms on my projects. So it's a really huge set of dies. It's £41 here. You can see you've got 12 dies. So you've got these lovely intricate dies here. And I've used one of these to cut this beautiful butterfly. And then you've got some like bits and pieces dies that cut out. Let's pop that on here and then you can see. That kind of cut out but also emboss as well. So you've got like this sort of textured die that creates this lovely effect. A bit like a brick wall, I suppose, or like a path. This is fab. Love this die, and the brick wall as well is lovely. You could also, the pieces that come out, you could infill in another colour. So I think those extra pieces are fab. Then you've also got this die, which is magical because not only does it cut out your stamp, it cuts out all of these butterflies in one go. So how cool is that? And it lines in really well. I always tape down when I'm die cutting anyway, but it just lines in really well. So, and then of course more, couple of like plain butterflies here. But such a fabulous set. Look at all those dies. I mean, it says 12 dies, but really this is cutting out 6, isn't it? So really, really cool set of dies that goes with it. Put those up there ready to do my cutting. Pop this DSP out of the way for now. Now let's have a look at the stamp. Now I've heard a few people saying that they're going to chop this up. I think, unlike my many messages, I'm going to keep mine as one stamp for now. So I've mounted it. I've got my label on here, my sticker. And these pieces that were in these holes, I'm going to keep because I've seen people creating animal print from these little pieces. So really good for doing backgrounds on things as well. So I recommend you keep yours. Don't discard them. Keep them in your packet because you never know, they might come in for something. So I will leave those in there for the moment because for this first card, I'm not going to be using the stamps. I'm going to be using the dies. So I'm going to put those back in my box and bring back in the cards so you can just for a minute see what we're doing. And I'm going to try and zoom in again. Let's just see how close that's brought me in. I'm hoping a little bit closer. I think that's better. I like it to be quite close so you can see what I'm doing. So the other thing I'm using, which is hiding in my basket, I purchased for my host code orders, online orders. One of the gifts, some of them had more than this, obviously, because they spent a lot more money. So I like to give good value with my gifts. I ordered these masks, these decorative masks, and it's something that I don't use very often. But I got myself a pack as well because I thought I could have a play with them. Especially now we have our new blending brushes. So that's one. There's another. Just how gorgeous. Sorry, we've got quite a reflection from my light. Don't know what I can do about that. And then we've got this one. So the wood. So they come in a pack of 4. But of course, me being me, today I'm going to use the spotty one. They're just really good. So you're going to hopefully be seeing a lot more of these soon because I want to do maybe a couple of classes using these or maybe just a couple of lives, especially in my VIP group as well, because that's kind of like my customer base. Those that place orders with me regularly, they get to become part of my VIP group, and I share different things in there as well to what I do here over on my business page. Belle, you like the masks. They're awesome for beginners as well, because you can get such a great effect using them. So let's pull in some pieces that I need. Can't pick that up. Having major nail problems. Belle, you were talking about your nails, weren't you? I just can't wait to get mine done properly. This one here, this is really, it's TMI for sure, but it's actually split. It's been like it for years, but there's a ridge right the way up my nail, and it continues to split. I do not know what to do about it. I have almost grown it out a few times when I've had my nails done, and it's strengthened my nails, but it just always comes back, so I have to keep it really short. And it's really horrible, isn't it, when you've got to do things like this and your nails are just not looking their best. But, you know, it's life. It's life at the moment. Look at that. That's the stamped image. That's for my next project. Okay, so what month are we? March. In April, we will be seeing the retired list for our annual catalogue. So it's time to be kind of, as a demonstrator, to using up supplies, sharing stuff with you that you're maybe not going to be able to get your hands on for long. So I have quite a lot of the current in colours, the 2019 to 2021, I think that's the right years. The Pretty Peacock, Rococo Rose, I've got quite a few bits with those. So I'm using up my supplies of cardstock at present. So I'm starting with my base, which is Pretty Peacock. So while I've got it here, I'm just going to give it a crease down the middle and then pop it to one side because I don't need it for a second. Okay. So this is a piece of basic white. It is the front layer on my card. I'm just going to bring it back in so you can see. Okay, so it's my front layer. Now, I am using, let's grab some bits out of my box. I've got a Stampin' Blends here. I'm going to get a bit of a shadow I've got to reach. I'm also using my double oval punch. I've got a blending brush, and somewhere in my box is my ink pad. So Pretty Peacock. I am really going to miss this colour. I do really enjoy it. It kind of reminds me of the old Island Indigo. Anybody remember that? Kind of reminds me of that colour. So, okay, let's make a start. Can't pick up my mask. I'm hoping I gave this a good clean from when I was playing around with this yesterday. So we're going to start with this base layer first, and I've got here my Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to be using the blending brush. Let's just grab an old piece of grid paper. I'm going to pop this down. Now, you might want to mask this off, but I'm not doing the whole sheet. I'm just doing like a random area around here. Might sit down just for a mo. I'm going to be up and down. And where are we in shot? Let's just move that up a tad and bring that down. So literally, as I've said, my Pretty Peacock I think could do with a little bit of new ink on it. I don't have the ink refill. How awful is that? I probably have 2 ink pads, but don't have the ink refill. And you know the issues that we've had with ink refills, so it's been a bit of a problem. I do believe now they are on their way to Europe, so hopefully very soon we will be able to get our hands on some of those that we've been waiting for. So I'm going to pick up some ink in a circular motion. I'm not sure if you can see that. Then I'm just going to take a bit off so it's not too harsh. and then I'm going to hold my mask with my hand. You could washi tape this down if you wanted to. And I'm just going to go in a circular motion. Now I'm not going to let go with this hand, so I do like to go in a circular motion on my ink pad, but I can't do that with only one hand. So I'm going to add more up in this top left corner, and then a little bit down over here in the right. Now if I'm not letting go here, I'm holding on to it. If I just lift, can you see? Hopefully you can see, it's just coming through. So I'm not going to do much more because that's not the effect that I want. I want like a subtle background just popping out behind the other elements on my card. So I think I'm just going to do a little bit more, a bit higher up, just so that they show. And I'm excited to try this out like tone on tone. So doing this on Pretty Peacock cardstock I think would be a lovely effect. So I'm going to keep that way up because I know that's the top. My blending brush is done for now. So I've just got this kind of soft, subtle, random, because there are darker parts and then it kind of like fades out. I just love the effect. And with my, I'm not a fan of doing this, but I'm going to do a bit of splattering with my blends. And I don't like doing it because I am really concerned about the damage that it's doing to the nib. But of course, they are a consumable product. They're not going to last forever anyway with colouring. So if I damage the nib, I just have to buy a new one. And they're so inexpensive for what they do. They're such a great tool. So I'm just going to flick, to remember which side my camera is this week. I'm just going to like flick and create some splats. It's quite juicy, this. Can you see it's in the lid? And then just some, that was quite heavy, but that's okay. Quite a nice splat going on. I've got a little wet wipe here. I'd just like to clean out my lid before I put that in. Otherwise, you're going to have ink around this part of your pen, and when you next go to colour with it, you're going to end up with ink on your fingers that will then transfer onto your project. So we've got a nice splatty background, really, really simple. Anybody can do that. There's nothing difficult about that whatsoever. If you don't have our blending brushes, these are a new product. I've not checked if they're back in stock yet, because they did go on back order for a little while. If you've got any of our Stampin sponges, you can use those, but honestly, you need to try these. If you fancy having a go at a technique like this, they come in a pack of 3 and they're only £11.25, and you can keep one brush for a certain range of colours. So this one is obviously all for my blues. Right, what is next? We need to do a bit of die cutting. I think I might have done some ahead of time. Maybe I didn't. Looking at my little pack of bits and pieces. So let's just pull out. I've got some basic white. I think I've done a couple of extra flowers. I didn't know whether it needed a little more something. Just pop that to one side. And reminding myself to show you something else before we finish. And let's do a little bit of die cutting. So I have used this die here because I thought it was a reasonable size to go on my card. I really like this one because it's such a good size, but I think I might stick with this one for now. I will also need to use the big die because I want to back this pretty die cut with, I'm going to use this little piece of DSP because it was left. It's not necessarily the right colour, but it does kind of blend. I think it's Bermuda Bay. It does kind of blend with the Pretty Peacock. So I thought that would be okay underneath. So I'm going to bring in my plates. Pop you to one side. Can use my mini, my Baby Boss for this butterfly. Are you going to fit on there? Just about. I've got a crack on my top plate as well. I need to get some more. What happened with this, it got really bent in 2 directions and then it cracked, but now it's flattened it out, so that's not a bad thing. Let's just run this through my mini machine. And they do cut really well, these dies. I mean, I've only cut a few, but I've not had any issues. Look at that. I'm hoping all these, me saying that, all these pieces are going to come out. Usually they stick in. Oh, my stomach is rumbling. It wants breakfast. Okay, I'm going to have to painfully sit and push all of those out because I do not have... I need to invest in the brush tip for my Take Your Pick tool. So let's just painfully push all of these out. Easier with my nail. Get the majority out. I have to admit, when I did this on my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, they all stuck into my plate, all the bits got left behind, which was fab. So I just pulled up the die. If you had the brush, this would take you 2 seconds to do. And the way to do it, if you've got the brush, is to leave it in your die. So leave your die cut piece and then brush over where the die is. Right, let's put you back where you belong. And then I'm just going to, I need to sweep all of this out of the way. I'm going to stick that onto there, a bit of washi. And just run that through my big machine very quickly. Like so. Don't tear it. I think this is one of my favourite sheets in the pack of DSP. The other important thing I really should mention about the DSP is that it will not be carrying over into the annual catalogue. The stamps and the dies will carry over, but the DSP pack and the speciality papers are only available while we've got the promotion, which is until the 3rd of May. So please do bear that in mind. Okay, the other thing I need to do is bring my... some pieces off of there, bring this back in. And another one of my favourite stamps, die sets, actually I don't have the stamps that go with this, but this is an amazing set. I've not put the price on here, I need to add that on, so, and how many dies are in this set, but another huge set of dies that is just amazing. So I want this label, and I mean, I love that there are 2 together like that. I've already cut these 2 because I didn't know whether I might add those in. And I want that one as well. And I love that there are 2 of those. So we can run all of these through here. So pop you on there. Oop, I think that went in the ink. You on there. Can we get you on there? Let's have a look. Just about. Top plate on. I'm going to turn it that way because it's bending. So do turn your plates when you use them. And just run this one through without everything moving, hopefully. I've got this at the back of my desk. I need to pull it forward. I'll put it there out of the way. Okay. So, got this Oh, I've done it in white and it needed to be mint macaron. I'll have to do that again because my background is so pale. That was silly, wasn't concentrating. I've done them all white when I needed. Whoops. That's what live crafting is about, isn't it? Trying to make sure the brain is engaged in what you're actually doing. So just pop these and run those back through. Where's my hot plates? Make sure you're going to cut. Oops, that moved. So, what a beautiful few days we've had. Hopefully you all managed to get some good fresh air at the weekend. It was just stunning weather, wasn't it? Absolutely stunning. I didn't manage to find any time to do gardening, as much as I would love to be out there, and as much as my garden would love me to be out there, I didn't find the time. I worked over here for a couple of hours on Saturday morning because I had to get some things ready for posting. Okay, I think we are there for bits and pieces. These will come in for something else, for sure. And I think before we do anything else, let's just do our greeting. And I'm just going to cut this piece in half. And from the sweet strawberry set, which is kind of one of my main focuses for this month, most of my classes are working around the sweet strawberry. I've used the Just For You, which is this one here. I've just got that mounted up onto a block. And let's just ink it up. This is where you'll see that my ink could really do with my stamp pad, ink pad being re-inked. And I'm just going to use the plain oval. Piece of paper wasn't quite big enough. And punch that out. Such a handy punch as well to have for lots of greetings and different things, because it's such a good size, fits quite a lot. Okay, let's have a seat for a minute. Let's bring in my base layer. Oh, Ashi, your Pretty Peacock re-inker has arrived. Oh, excellent. You had one on back order. Well, I thought I did, but I need to double check. I really need to double check whether I did actually order it or whether I was like, oh, I'll wait for it just to come back in. Like 12 months later. It's been a bit of a sticky mess with the re-inkers, but hopefully things will start moving. And it's all been to do with labelling, to show obviously contents and things. Okay, so mini dimensionals on this lovely little label. I love that the Pierced Bloom set, although it has flowers in there, you do have this beautiful label. And you've got a lovely bow die as well, which I'll show you after. Move that plate out of the way, otherwise I'm going to knock that on the floor. I've moved my bin today as well, so I'm all out of where everything is, because I've had to make room for my Stamparatus to come in next to me, ready for the next project. So we're going to pop that one there. And then just because we can, we could put this flat. I'm going to keep this one flat because on my original card I raised it up, but we do have to think about posting and postage costs. I seem to spend an awful lot of money, obviously now, because I can't meet with you or face to face. I'm having to post things out, so yeah, my postage bill is quite high. So we're going to pop, before I put that, I'm going to place my butterfly. So let's just see what that looks like behind there. So once you've layered it, you cannot actually really see what is behind it. Let's just make sure all of these pieces are out and not hanging in there. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of Tombow and lay that down over my die cut. Oh, I actually like that. I do like that. Such a pretty piece of paper. Well, they're all pretty. They are all pretty. And this one I'm just popping a couple of dimensionals on here because I just want it to be slightly raised. Thinking that one might be a bit low. Is it going to get in the way? No, it'll be okay. Just have it kind of overlapping that label. Next, I think I popped a dimensional just under that top one, and then a bit of Tombow under here, just to raise the leaf up a bit. And we'll have it, I need to hide this stem. I hope you can't hear my stomach rumbling. I should have had another coffee before I went live, really. I don't know if I'm going to put these two on. I'm going to see what they look like. Let's hope I don't get the shakes, because that's what happens when my levels drop. My eyesight goes. That's the first thing. And then I call it the EBGBs. I get the shakes. It's funny though, because I don't always have breakfast first thing. And some days, obviously the levels drop. Some days I have breakfast a lot later than others and I'm fine. And then other days, no, I've got to eat. Right, let's bring in. So I have the opal rounds. I've not used any of these yet. I think I'm going to stick with the pearls for now. So these are just the basic pearls. I might pop some on my butterfly. So let's just pop a couple in the centres of the flowers. Yeah, the body levels are weird, aren't they? The other morning, I got up and I just felt, I didn't feel right. I felt quite dizzy. I rolled out my little yoga mat and did my exercises. You know, I will do my little stretches in the morning to keep the joints going. And I got out of breath really quickly, which doesn't usually happen. And then I kind of came over like a hot flush, and had to sit down, which was really pathetic. And then that night I got into bed and I went really dizzy as well. So I think maybe my body was just, I don't know, telling me that I was tired maybe, because I'm on that silly 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock waking up at the moment, and it's tiring. What I was thinking was maybe dotting some more flowers, but now I'm thinking I'm just going to leave it as it is. Really simple, which is not me at all. I like lots of layers and lots of bits everywhere. So that's the finished card. Really, really simple, I think. Simple for my style anyway. Very little stamping, lovely bit of technique to create just a background. This also would look really nice if you embossed it after you'd done the stamping as well. That would look really pretty. So, but I just wanted to show you how beautiful the dies cut and how pretty they look when they're cut. So that was kind of the purpose of this card, keeping it simple. Okay, let us put that to one side. Have a little tidy up of bits and pieces. Scoop all these little bits into the bin because I don't want to be stamping on those. I think I can close up my ink for now. And let's bring in the next basket. So a couple of things to share. So tonight I have got my 6-card class with my VIP group. And this is one of the cards. It's a bit of a sneak peek, but I've already shared it on here, on my Facebook page and over on my Instagram. So this is a good example of the DSP. The only stamping I've done here is the thank you. And again, I've used the Sweet Strawberry stamp set. This is a die cut. And my aim is to try and colour in. I'm not doing it today because I need to play first, but to try and colour in my butterflies so that they kind of look like this DSP, because I just love that look. So the DSP here, and then for my 6-card class I've used the Stitch So Sweetly labels as well. But isn't it beautiful? The papers are gorgeous. So I wanted to share that one with you. So these are my products I'm using. So again, on my mission to use up some of the ink colours that are retiring. So we've got some Purple Posy here. This is Highland Heather. That's the bow die that I was talking about. This is a recent card that I did for a team training. So it was very minimal stamping and meant that everybody could create without having to worry about having too many stamps that went with it. But today I thought I would go, because I had very little time, because yesterday was my Nana duty day, which was just amazing. I'm really lucky that I have grandchildren already and I'm getting to enjoy them. So I had little Evsie yesterday. She's 11 months old. Coles is back at work, and obviously she has nobody to look after babies. So we're kind of in our little bubble. Jason works with Jack, so he sees him every day. So I kind of feel that it's okay for me to have Evsie. Some people may judge me for that. They may think it's wrong. But she needs someone to look after the babies while she's working. So anyway, I'm waffling. So where I was going with that is that I picked up this card and I do really like it, and thought I would go with today's project using the butterflies. So I would go with that sketch and work from it. So this is what I came up with. It's simple in itself. I don't think it's rocket science to put together. I think if you were a beginner and you had your kits cut out, you would easily be able to put this all together. And I've just done a simple butterfly, nothing to it. I've just stamped it and die cut it. So again, on my mission, I'm using up my Purple Posy. I've teamed it with Crumb Cake just to kind of break it up. And I've added a bit of black down here just to bring in the memento from the butterfly. Now, what would work beautiful are is it Love You Always DSP? So this is next on my list. I think this will have to be an extra class, something like this, not with Purple Posy, but with the black and whites and some black and white butterflies thrown in as well. So that for those of you that are not very confident about colouring, you can just stamp and go, cut out. So let us clean off that stamp for a moment that we used. Make a bit of room and bring in some kit pieces. So I've used a basic white background. I thought for this one I might throw in a bit of embossing. So I've pulled in my painted texture embossing folder. This you'll find in, if you can see this, you'll find it in the January to June mini catalogue. So I thought I might step it up a little bit with that. I've also got some of this coordinating purple posy ribbon. How gorgeous is this? It has like a gorgeous linen effect, and that was my reasoning for the crumb cake, because I just thought it all pulled together really. I'm a huge fan of Sahara sand, but I thought the crumb cake would work lovely. So I've got some pieces cut already. We got everything out because of time, obviously. So already 45 minutes in. So I've done a bit of die cutting. I've got some flowers that I need to cut. And my panels, I've already embossed. Can you see? It's just a beautiful, beautiful background. So they're going to be going on there. I'm hoping that the embossing hasn't squished it in any way, because that's what happens when you emboss a piece of paper. It moves it about, it pulls pieces in and it stretches. So it stretches and shrinks, and sometimes you need to do a bit of trimming after you've cut a layer on something. So we're going to be using that. What I want to do first is put my, let's fold this, and then I know it's my base, and then I won't grab it to do anything else with it. Okay, pop that to one side. Now, I do not use this tool very often. I do not know why. I need to maybe just educate myself with it. But this is our Stamparatus. I know a lot of you have them. It's an amazing tool. It's such a substantial piece of equipment. So it's a placement tool, a positioning tool. And when you have big stamps, let's bring it back in, like this one. So as I showed you, they are not individual, it's one big stamp. You either need a very big block, which would be, is it our F block? I want to say F, could be wrong. Or is it I? I don't know without looking. You would either need a very large block or the Stamparatus, which is perfect, especially for our big background stamps as well. So let's just pull this out carefully because it's sticking. And I'm going to use, I don't know what you're going to be able to see. Let's move this way just a bit. And I'm going to pop my stamp case here, because when I open up this, it lays on top of there. Otherwise, when you're applying ink, if you haven't got anything under there, it's not got a surface at the same height. I hope that makes sense. So it doesn't show very well on the video, but I've actually opened up one of my acrylic pieces, and I've just, it's on there now and it's at the same height. So when I go to ink with it, it will be supported. So what I'm going to do, because I don't want to waste any paper, of course, I've already popped a piece of basic white in here. I'm going to lay my stamp down and then just pick it up on my sheet. Okay, and I've got my two, oh, you can see that I didn't clean that very well, but that is not a problem, because when we stamp it back down, it's going to go straight over the top. Right, shifting bits and pieces just so that I can move you this way a bit, like that. So I'm using Momento. Where have you gone? Here you are. Because this is important. If you want to colour with the blends, you need to use Momento. Okay? So let's just take that off. Now, on doing this previously, I ended up, because this is not very deep, I ended up with inky fingers. So I'm going to try and be very cautious about how I am holding. Might get a bit of a wobble because I want to make sure I've got plenty of ink on here. And I don't want to get it all over my fingers. And I've only inked this a couple of times, so it takes a few times for it to to become like what I would say like ready to use. So when you buy a new stamp set, I always feel like there's like a residue left on there. When you do your first stamping with it, it doesn't necessarily ink up the best because there's a residue on it. So when I get a new stamp, I like to ink it up and stamp it off several times before I actually use it. And this literally works just by flipping that over, pressing down, and then lifting it back up and there. And can you see that I've missed that bit there? I'm just going to, I might have missed that with the ink. So I'm just going to re-ink that part of the butterfly. And this is the beauty of the Stamparatus, whatever you want to call it. I always think of the word apparatus, so I say Stamparatus. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's freedom of choice. And then we just press that down because it's gone straight over the top. I mean, how beautiful. Just how beautiful is that? I think this particular stamp could do with being inked a few more times before you see its real beauty. So this one here looks a little bit pale. Just going to press a bit harder on that. And then I think we're done. So what I would then do is just set that aside for a little bit, especially if you're using blends. I always like to just let it sit for a while. Don't colour straight away with it. Just let the ink absorb into the paper. So I'm going to pull that out for now. And sit that to one side, out of the way, because I don't need that again. Then, as I showed you, this is the one that I did earlier. Just make sure you're still in shot. I haven't moved you about. So let's bring the dies back in. You belong over there. There's hardly enough room on my die sheet for all of these gorgeous dies. So I'm just going to use this one. And I know I'm cutting out all of these and I'm only wanting one. But I will have all the others left for another project. Guys, I've still got this really grubby bottom plate. Don't judge me. It's got a bit of a wobble on it as well. Ought to turn it. So let's grab a bit of washi tape because I don't want it to move when it goes through. And line it up as best I can. See, it does line in beautifully. And I think we'll stick it right there in the centre. Grab my top plate. Did treat myself to a new top plate. Needed to do the same for the bottom, didn't I? Let's just overlap that a bit, make sure it's going to run through, and just run that through in one fell swoop. It's incredibly easy actually to run through because there aren't too many edges. And look at that. Just move that out of the way. I'm going to pop this die back on my... I love the piece that's left as well. I'm sure something creative could be done with that. And then we've got all these gorgeous butterflies just waiting to be coloured or left blank. Entirely up to you. So I'm going to set these to one side for later and bring back in all of my pieces. Okay, I'm going to take a seat for the moment and let's start by popping all of these panels on here. Somewhere I've got some measurements. And they're on inches, yeah. Let me tell you. So this crumb cake piece measures Move out of the way. 3 3/4 by 5 3. So 3 3/4 by 5 3. And then this panel, I cut one piece like that, which measured 3 5/8 by 5 inches. And then I cut each panel at 1 1/4 inch. And it just about works. It took a bit of playing around to get the right size, but it just about works. I'm hoping that the embossing hasn't made it any different, but we won't know that until we stick it now. And then I'm just going to pop it on and leave an even border on those 3 edges. Now these could be back to front. Try and do them all the same way around. And then what I like to do when I'm doing things like this, do the opposite end next, so that I can then place my 2 centerpieces, and hopefully they have got a nice even gap as well. So need to stand up to see this bit. So quite a simple kind of background to have. Nothing, oh gosh, what went wrong there? Got a big gap. Oh, now that bothers me. Are you going to come up? You need to come up a little bit and move over. Bothers me big time. See, I think that was the embossing, if I'm honest. Because I have made this card a few times. I've done it with my team training. And I should have an even border here, and then these should be even as well. That's not too bad, is it? I think we can get away with that. Says she, the perfectionist. Oh, guys. Can you imagine what it's like living with me? Poor Jason. He must tear his hair out with me. This gorgeous ribbon, if you want this, guys, do not leave it too long to get it. I've got it in Pretty Peacock and Seaside Spray, and I absolutely love it. So, glue dot on the back. It looks good to you, Belle, thank you. Hope you're having a better day today, sweetheart, than yesterday's day that went a bit pear-shaped for you. Life throws us these things, doesn't it? So they say, to try us. And sometimes it surely does, doesn't it? Okay, just a glue dot on the end and just tucked under on the back like that. And then this little strip here, I wanted a nice scallopy border, so I pulled out, I think it was this one, and just took a piece of basic black and just cut a little scalloped border. I love our shape dies for doing things like that. And then all I'm going to do is pop a bit of Tombow under there and wedge it underneath my ribbon. It's stuck to me now, there we go. And hope that it's somewhat straight. And then I think what I'm going to do, can you just see it's this bit of ribbon is, I've pulled it quite tight, flapping about. I'm just going to pick up a glue dot and wedge it under there like that. And that's just solved that. I don't think it was baggy because I did pull it quite tight, but it just stops it bobbling around a bit. Now, I might stick this flat to my base I'm going to on this one because my card's quite 3D. On my original, I popped this on dimensionals. So it's quite a 3D card. And do you know what? I still haven't got around to making that box for the card. Still on the list, guys. My to-do list is just always never ending. And I have all these ideas in my head of things I want to do. And I need to get better at my time management, as Jason keeps telling me. He says it's rubbish. Belle, Liv refused to go on a mentoring session about 30 minutes before the mentor was due. Oh gosh. Was that this morning, honey? Oh dear. A bit of glue down there. Okay, so this is where we are. So we've got our panels on in a fashion and our ribbon is round, and we've got this. I've popped this in here really to bring in a bit of black to go with the butterfly as well. So let's pull in. Oh, I've got a couple of flowers to die cut. So let's bring these back in. And a bit of purple posy. Of course, guys, you remember you cannot buy the purple posy ink because it never really, it did get, it was manufactured and we were able to buy it, and then they had an issue with the colour of it. They just couldn't get it to not react with whatever they put in our ink pads. And they had to take it off of sale, which is really sad. But we do obviously have the cardstock. We have things that go with it, like the ribbon. We have the blends pen, which is really fab. So in you go. You have to overlap your plates with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines. If you put them all in flush, it won't go through. So if I show you, can you see the top plate is not, if it's like this and they're all together, it doesn't like it. So you have to kind of stagger them and then it will pull it through a lot easier. Yeah, so it's sad about the purple posy. And I was very, very lucky several years ago on an incentive trip to go to Canal, the manufacturing facility in the States, and actually see how they make our ink pads, which was fabulous. Had so many lovely trips I will never ever forget, but that was an amazing trip. I would like very much to be able to earn another trip again, but who knows? Who knows? Okay, so what should we do next? Let's pop in our label. So I want some dimensionals under here. Too many things going on around here now. Getting to the end of another sheet. Yeah, I've had some amazing trips with Stampin' Up. Earned 7, I think. Oh, so yesterday was what your phone calls were about, Belle. Bless you. Very stressful. Let's pop. I want to allow enough room for my butterfly because I don't want it overhanging my card too much. So I think somewhere over there, like that. And I think I'm going to pop, where's my take your pick tool gone? Back in its pot where it was. I think I'm going to pop, I was going to crease that with my hand, my greeting on after, when I see what room I've got left. So I've gone with the same colour, Purple Posy, keeping it quite same colour. Crease that one now. I'm going to pop this leaf down first because I want it to be poking down here. And I don't want to have to try and get it under my butterfly. I am super excited to see what new ink colours are coming. So as a demonstrator, a lot of you probably know we get to see new catalogue releases early and things like that. And we've got like a countdown button going on on our website at the moment, counting down the days until we get to see the new catalogue. It's very exciting. And on that note, if you would like to be able to see things extra early, join my team. We have fun. There's no pressure. You meet people who love to be creative as well. It's just an amazing community to be a part of. And I have the most amazing team. They're so helpful and they're so kind to each other. So I'm very, very lucky. I'm very thankful to have them all in my lives. This little one I think I popped on a dimensional. Yeah, so if you fancy getting sneak peeks of the new catalogue that's going to be coming our way very soon, join my team, guys. It's easy to join up. It's easy to sign up. It's quick and simple. You can do it online. The hardest thing is choosing what you want in your starter kit, because you get to choose whatever you want. You choose £130 of product. I thought I stuck you. You're trying to get away. £130 of product, all for £99. So totally choose what you want. It ships to you free of charge, which is super great. Right, bit of Tombow on the middle of this butterfly. And I'm going to overlap things a little bit, but that's fine. Just want to make sure this butterfly isn't hanging off the edge of my page. Yeah, there's no pressures joining my team. No pressures from anybody. It's a great thing to be a part of. And who wouldn't love a permanent discount on your Stampin' Up products? So you can find out information on my website, kerrytims.co.uk, or just drop me a message. I'm happy to chat with you about it. Very informal. Just to let you know the ins and outs. There are no penalties. So if you don't hit your quarterly sales target, you simply drop off the system and then you become a customer again. Oop, stuck to me. And another one over here just to balance it out. I have got some extra leaves on my original one. Okay, I need to do a bit of stamping. Let's bring my mat in, and then I just want this little just for you. And then I've got this other half left over from earlier. So I'm just going to ink that up. Did a bit of a rock in there. Did you see? I rocked. Let's just slide that in. Don't recommend you putting your hand in your punch when you're about to squeeze. I think that's quite straight. And I'm going to go the full hog and pop this one on dimensionals as well, because my butterfly is quite 3D sitting in there. Oops, I just missed my bin because I've moved it. And then I think I would just lay that right over the top of that other flower, like that, and just give you a bit of a bounce. And there we go. I think my other one has a few more white leaves on it, but I think I might leave it like that. I might add in that one behind, just so there's a bit of leaf, bit of white poking up behind there. So I might do that after. So how beautiful. Let's add a bit of Wink of Stella to the centres of those two flowers, just to add a little something something. Oh, I know what I have forgotten. Some pearls. That was close. We nearly forgot that. Let's have a bit of a tidy up. What have we got left on here? May as well use these as we're near the end. Let's have a larger one up here. Definitely need food, guys, now. I'm gonna have to start eating before my live, I think. I was just a little bit busy preparing for this morning's live before it started because I wasn't very organised, and I like to be organised. I like to be knowing what I'm doing. Thank you, Ruth. Are you enjoying this one? It is quite effective, actually. What I find quite effective, I don't know if you are talking what I'm talking about. You might be talking about the Wink of Stella. But just the butterfly in the black and white. I just love, can you see that Wink of Stella? Don't know if you'll be able to. I quite like let me bring in the original. Wait for that to come up. Come out the way. The bit of embossing kind of breaks it up a bit. And maybe I do think it needs that leaf up there, but I'm really pleased with that. I'm not so pleased with the spacing, but yeah, there we go. So I'm going to turn you back down to me and hope that I can just say bye to you face to face, because I haven't done this before. So let's see how it goes. Just putting the lid on the ink. So before I say goodbye, might have to just readjust you. Let's move that out of the way a little bit, because you're always going to come. Oh, that wasn't good. Let's see. There we go. So must also remember not to move my phone with my right hand. So you like the mix of embossed background and the die cut flowers? Okay, lovely. Yeah, I'm pleased with those. Like I've said, I need to really play a lot more with this stamp set. I've done what you've seen me do today. I've picked it up, I've mounted it, put my stamps up, my stickers on the back, and inked it up, stamped it and cut it. I've not played with it, I've not had time. So anyway, with that in mind, it's time for me to go and grab a cup of coffee, have some breakfast. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me this morning. I will be back seeing some of you later this evening in my VIP group, where I'll be making some cards. So I hope that I've just lifted your day a little bit. You've enjoyed watching me create, or even if you've just had me on in the background, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are watching me on the replay, please do subscribe to my channel if you've not already, if you're catching me here on YouTube. It would be lovely for you to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video as well. So anyway, I'm going to head off now, and I will catch some of you later. Please take care, everybody. Have a great day as well, and I will see some of you very soon. So bye for now.